Let's now label the elements in plan. So just like for the data tables, the same is for the labels. By default, you have many labels that are already predefined. Later, I will show you how you can also create your own label configuration. But for now, let's use the default ones. So for the section, I would like to use this one, length and direction. And also you see these stars. The stars are basically the one that is default. So for example, I would like this number 2 to be default. Right mouse button on it and set it as default. And also for the nodes, I would like to use this name, terrain, and invert elevation or centerline elevation. I will select this one, right mouse button and set it as default. Why are these stars good and useful? First of all, I always like to label as default the one that is applied so that I can always know which label configuration is currently in the drawing. And the other way why this is important is that you can run the labeling of the entire system with just one mouse button. So I will show you that as well. So the main way how you can label the elements is by double clicking on your configuration, any of this one. It doesn't have to be the one with the star. Double click on it. This dialog opens. And now you have your familiar selection options. Always by default is the yellow icon, which I said means the whole network. So active system. And now when you click here on this mark icon, everything will be labeled with that label. So we have lengths and we have the arrow of direction. And like I said, the other reason why you would like to have these stars, I will now show you. So I can start this again by double clicking, selecting, and clicking on the Thunderbolt Thunder icon, or you can go to ribbon, and here you see automatic labeling of nodes, automatic labeling of sections for the entire network with the default label configurations with the ones labeled with the star. So let's label the nodes. So I will just click here on the ribbon and the whole network is labeled with this configuration. So you can see the node name, terrain elevation, and invert elevation. In this case, this is a center line elevation. Okay, so now that we labeled the nodes and sections, we see the names of these nodes. And you will notice that by default, these names will be, okay, they will be some prefix as n, as node, and some counter. You will see that this counting of the nodes will not always be as you might expect. That's because this is very easy to change later. So one of the really nice options in Urbano is the options for renaming of the elements. So in the data table, let's switch to node geometry. And like I already said, all the cells in the data table that are white, you can edit them directly typing in the data table. For example, let's change the name of this node. I will change it to tank, for example. Okay, and notice how the label and basically everything in Urbano is dynamic because you change it. For example, in the data table, the model automatically updates. So both plan profiles and data tables are completely synchronized. So this is how you can rename using by data tables. But also if we go to our option for editing of the nodes, we can go to function for renaming automatically or renaming by arrays or branches. If you go by rename automatically, you know the procedure. You can set some prefix for the main and for the plain nodes, or you can put the same prefix, select something and rename it. But what is more interesting to me is this renaming by arrays by branches. So you can select the entire system, and for the prefix, you can use the array name or the branch name. I like to use array name. So as prefix, it says here to use monkey to insert array name as prefix. So I will put a prefix of an array, and also I will put point as a delimiter, and click here. And now you see this is the order: A1, then H1 to 4, then V1 to 4. And let's click apply. Okay. And now notice each node in the plan and in the data table is named according to the array. We have the prefix A11, then A12, A13, and so on. And then when we come to branching here, you see this is A18, and this is here H11. Why is that? Because here in the list, A is before H. If you want to reverse the order, here you have the move up and move down icons. So H is before V, so H2, H13, and this will be V11. So this is how I like to name my nodes, but you can also name it using some other rule as well. Let's now also rename our sections. So let's go to section geometry. Default is some prefix S, and then you have your counter. But let's check what are the possibilities. Let's go to renaming of the sections or editing sections. And here, let's switch to rename automatically. And very similarly, like for the arrays, you have your patterns here. So you can use different patterns for prefixes, suffixes, or combination of them. For example, you can put branch name, array name, you can use from starting to ending, node name, and so on. So for example, let's select the entire system and let's rename it. So from start node, which is monkey 3, to end node, which is monkey 4. So let's type here from monkey 3 to monkey 4, and this will be a new name. So you can see here in the preview, this is the old name, this is the new name. And let's click apply. And now you see how this is renamed. You see the name of each section is from starting node to ending node. You can leave it like that, but I will use some other rule because I already have in my data tables what is my starting node, what is my ending node. So I will use some other rule for naming of the sections. And if you want to use it like this, so from starting to ending node, then it's the same. You can select the entire system. But if you want to sort it somehow, you have to use selection options because selection options are sorted. So let's say I will select this one, then the 4 horizontal ones, and then 4 vertical ones. So this will be the selection order. And for the prefix, I will put S like section. And for the counter, for the suffix, I will put counter, which is monkey 5. As you can see here, monkey 5 is counter. Okay, let's click apply. And now you see it's from S1 to S64. Okay, and if I sort it now, you can see that this is the order. So from S1, we have this main array, then we have these 4 horizontal ones, and then we have these 4 vertical ones. The very same is for renaming of the branches. For example, let's also do that. So we can go to editing of the branches. Here you can see the many different functions for merging, for breaking, for reversing, but let's go to rename automatically. You can see all these dialogues are the same. So let's here go to active system, and let's use this from starting node to ending node. So let's type it monkey 3 to monkey 4. Okay, and let's click apply. And here you see now that the branch names are according to starting and ending node names. So now that we renamed everything, and now that we have our topology, Urbano topology familiar, we can go to some other functions. And one of these functions is drawing of the profile. Of course, you didn't have to rename anything to draw profiles. You can draw profiles immediately. But I wanted you for you in this basic training to learn the topology, to learn the selection options, because now you will see how it's easy to use them to achieve some great things. For example, with these selections and knowing the topology, you can very quickly set or edit a lot of amount of data. You can quickly draw the profiles and so on and so on.